Just completed the Tomer Devorah's first aspect of the Keser. Just remind you the diagram here that the Keser is the first, refers to the first three spheres of the Esser spheres. 7 final spheres we're more familiar with, but Keser we're by definition not familiar with. So Keser, Chochma, Bina, and the like many things, you have an item or a process can be named after a part of it. For instance, you have a pair of glasses, so it's named after the glasses, but the whole thing is called glasses. Even though it's not just glasses, it's frames, it's a whole thing, but it's called glasses.
I thought it was
Ray-Ban. Many things like that, that there's really one Iker, but the whole thing is named after that Iker. So the Keser is not just Keser, but Keser has a part of it which is called Keser. So you have the Keser, which is the whole three, and then the Keser unto itself, which is called Keser because we really don't know what it is, but what we do know about it is it's Davar Nelam. It's something which is hidden. What we do know about it is that its whole purpose, in other words, HaKadosh Baruch Hu's purpose in the beginning of the Bria, was to be mativ and to give to the world below it. So we came up with this, the Tomer Devorah came up with, at least according to the way we understand it, came up with a dazzling new pshat in Anivus, that Anova is not the pshat that one says that, like, as I said last week, it's not that Moshe Rabbeinu came down from Har Sinai and said, oh shucks, it was nothing. No big deal. So I spoke to Hashem, so I got your slicha. That's not the pshat Kesed. That's not the pshat Alivus. The Abosha Alav Mikol Adam means that even though HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, forget about the Madrega below you, forget about Klal Yisrael, you and me will be here together, we'll make something new, not to worry. He said, no, that the whole point is for the Klal Yisrael, which is standing beneath me, which is standing on the bottom of the mountain. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu has to turn around Kiviyachol and say, well, the whole point of the B'rias Ha'olam was to give. So Anava is to be able to take what you have and not sit at an ivory tower with it or not enjoy it, per se. Maybe that's for Olam Haba, maybe. I don't know. But it's not for this world. For this world, we have to see ourselves as a link in a chain. And it's all about what we can give to the next, whether it's to the next generation or to the people that need us. It's all about what we can give. That's what we're here for. We're here to give. We're malachim for giving. So that's what Keser, that's what Anova means. So Anova is, we read from the end of the Gemara Megillah, which we say at Vayitin Lacha, the end of Vayitin Lacha, the Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Chamakim Shatamoitze, Galusay Shal Kadosh Baruch Hu Shem Atamoitze Anvasanusai. There you find his Anivus also. Kadosh Baruch Hu is Kel Ram Benisa, but he's Shofet Al V'Yasai. All three sources are showing that even though Hashem is on the highest, obviously, level, nevertheless, his concern is for the lower. So that's what we need to be. So let's just do the last paragraph of this before we go to the next Inyan. Ukamai shehu yoshev bizon mikarnei re'ayim re'ayim ad beitzei kinim, and just like HaKadosh Baruch Hu from his highest of the highest place is involved with karnei re'ayim ad beitzei kinim, even the eggs of lice. Agav, the Shulchan Aruch says that you're allowed to kill lice on Shabbos because they don't have a procreative mode to them, so they're not really, they're not real in terms of a Baal Chai, and so therefore there's no Isser to kill them, which science has long disproven. But you see that the Gemara says also that HaKadosh Baruch Hu zon ad beitzei kinim. So acknowledges the fact that there's an egg and so whatever Chazal say, there are many poskim that say today you're not allowed to kill lice because science tells you differently. But you see, Chazal understood Beit Zekinim. They understood that the kingdom have a mama and a tata. It's not like it's not like something which comes from nothing in the Devorah.
So what's the pshat? That we on Shabbos?
We have to learn Hilchos Shabbos, but probably that's not nicker as something which is an origin. It's not nicker as a beitza. It doesn't look like a person or a cow or it's not nicker. So much of Torah it has to do with what we see. Torah is in the eye. The bria is in the eyes of the beholder.
So,
understand what I'm saying?
It's very dangerous. Something.
No. Look, I'm saying everyone says. Just to give you an example, everyone says we're off topic, but everyone says the Rambam mistakenly says that the sun revolves around the earth. So the Rambam was as good of a scientist probably as that's the other. So the simple pshat. There's probably it could be a bit of a mistake. That Galileo or whoever was discovered that the Earth goes around the Copernicus. That the Earth goes around the sun, not the sun goes around the Earth. It sounds more theological to say everything goes around the Earth, but the Messias is the way we see it. The way we see it from our vantage point on Earth, the sun is going around the Earth. Vaharaya Adahiyah was in the first page of the newspaper. Talks about sunrise and sunset. Well, the sun's not rising, the sun's not setting. The earth is rising, the earth is setting. But we still call it vernacular according to Lefi Roy Sedai. So it comes to halacha, we always go with the way we see it, not the way it is. The halacha, the Torah, is not interested with the scientific reality necessarily. So everybody who's trying to be miyashiv Torah with science is, in my opinion, wasting their time because that's not what Torah is all about. It's just a waste of time. And then crediting and discrediting and finding all kinds of, it doesn't, okay, yeah, fabulous. So that's footnote. You see, our Kadosh Baruch Hu is concerned with even the smallest creation. And there's no bria, we're at the end of the first part of Parashah. It's not pushing away even the smallest creation. Is a Kadosh Baruch Hu worried about every ant, or is he not worried about every ant? If he wouldn't be worried about every ant, they would discontinue to exist. So rather he's mashkiach on every single bria that he made. So too does a person have to be meitiv lakol. There is no such thing as something in our life that needs our attention which is too small or beneath me to get involved with. We have to be godly in this sense. There's nothing that's beneath Hashem. He's getting involved with the eggs of the lice in your kid's hair. Nothing nisbaza. Afilu bria kala shebekalois tiamoid chashuva me'enav yitei daitoi aleha v'yetiv l'chol hamitzdarech al tuvasei. Let me put it succinctly in 2 words. Hashgacha pratis. Just like a Kadosh Baruch Hu does Hashgacha pratis, we have to do Hashgacha pratis. Hashgacha pratis means there's not a Kadosh Baruch who's involved with the big things, Hashgacha klalos, and after that, malachim or people are involved with the pratim. No, we hold, as the Rambam says, in Hashgacha pratis. So Hashgacha pratis means Hakadosh Baruch Hu is involved with every detail. So we have to also be involved with every detail. Doesn't mean we have to be a stickler for details. That's not the point. The point is that the nourishment that comes from us, what we have to give to nourish that which is receiving from us, extends to the furthest away extremity from anything that we have. So we have to start looking at who needs our attention, and there's no such thing as, well, you're just a simpleton or you're just an animal. You find all through Chazal that everything below us, and that's anivus. That's what anova is. Everything below us has to be nourished by us.
Why is this different than chesed?
So what is chesed? It's not different than chesed. It says chesed is a more outer manifestation. It's all the same line. But in other words, this breaks into chesed. Chesed is part of it. We'll explain. No job. V'zubi da tluya b'keser b'sayid harosh daraklal. Sayid harosh means that the keser is always in the charts of the sephiros the Rabbak drew out for us. He drew out tables for us. So you have the Soid Harosh. What's coming from the mind is different than the Chesed. For instance, it's coming from your hands. That's not the Labaisa. In other words, my attitude, if you will, has to be an attitude, or the Makor has to do, the Kesser. My Kesser has to be a Kesser of Anova. That, okay, we're here. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world for the world. So Moshe Rabbeinu, or us, David HaMelech, we're all able to turn back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and say, well, so we did have errors. Are you going to forget about us? Isn't that what you created? You created the world. So if somebody goes against us, they always say, like, if you're a leader of a group, and you're trying to teach them something, and they don't have a good mitos, you have to ask yourself, you can't ask yourself, like, what am I doing here? These people don't have mitos. If they had good mitos, they wouldn't need you. Like the whole point is what you have to give, how you have to nourish that's below us. So the anov is that we always have to be thinking about what we're giving, not what we're getting, and not what we're getting out of something, or is this good for me? Number one, or what am I doing? What am I accomplishing? Accomplishment is totally in what I'm giving, what I'm able to contribute, and that's another.
There's also literally now the ants. I mean, you have ants walking across your kitchen floor. We have to, we should kill them, we shouldn't kill them.
You have to deal with it, right?
You should walk around them.
I mean, he means that it's Ad-Kedekah.
You see, Rebbe was punished for pushing away a rodent.
Calf.
A
So
calf.
Melech was even Chayvel on the sun.
Right. It doesn't mean something's a menace. I mean, I'm not saying the halachas of it are is a different story. But you can't just be.
You have to be sorry you killed him.
Hashniya. Now, the second part of the Keser is called Keser Chochma Bina. So the second part of the Keser is called Chochma. So Hashem created the world, Keser Chochma Bina. These are the Moichem. This is the energy for the world. So the energy on the right side is the energy of Chochma. In Machshavta, in our Machshava, Tidbel Lamachshavas HaKeser. Has to be domet to the Machshava of Keser. What in the world does this mean?
Is it an assumption or a statement?
Kamoisha Oisa. What it means is Machshavta Tidmet Lamachshavas HaKeser. Kamoisha Oisa Chochma Leitivsai Tamid Lachshav Machshavas Toivos. I'll just read a word, a last sentence here. Va'arela Yikonis Bam Neshi Rachim Gemurim. Vein Sham Din V'loi Shum Koishi Klal. Kacha Adam Tamid Tia Machshavta Pnuya Mikol Davar Machoyer. So let me attempt to explain this the way I understand it, Luffy my limitations. When we think of Chochma, how do you translate Chochma? Wisdom. So forget about that.
I'm not so smart after all.
Forget about that. That's wisdom is only one example of Chochma that we talk about a lot over here. Chochma. But Chochma does not mean wisdom. Wisdom is Chochma, but Chochma does not mean wisdom. Chochma, just open your minds to just, okay, have a new definition for Anova, have a new definition for Chochma. Chochma means the original seed that still yet needs to be fertilized. That needs to begin the process of coming into this world is called Chochma. That original seed, let it be a seed, let it be an idea, let it be whatever it is, the first spark is called the spark of Chochma. Wisdom, meaning a certain type of wisdom, where I'm a chadish something, I have some kind of a hamtzah, which is very unusual, by the way. Most people have something, they got an idea from somewhere else. So where was the original idea? most I was reading that they have computer programs today that you can put a song, like a song for the radio, you can put it through the program, and it can find rips. It can find where where the basics of that song came from. It always came from another song. That one, so much of the Beatles came from Beethoven.
Melodies.
Really?
Yeah, there's studies on this. There's studies, so it's called a rip. And the question is, does it, like you're ripping something off? The question is, does it have any legal
Ramifications.
Right, so the show is like something puts up an idea in my head. Now I could change the tempo, I could change the rhythm, I could change the beat, I could change everything about it, but it's the same bats and it's the same niggin. So in terms of writing, so many people get an idea and then they write something. Is that plagiarism? Is it not plagiarism? So Chochma is somebody who has the Chochma very rare. It's very rare for somebody to actually have Chochma. So Chochma, that's why I'm saying forget about wisdom. I don't know what wisdom is, but the Devar Chochma is like a new spark, something new. So probably the Chochma mostly is with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the Chochma that comes into this world, that first spark, and it doesn't have to be like something brainy. It can, whatever it is, the first spark of creation is called Chochma.
Zachar.
It's a Zachar. So in Kabbalistic language, the Chochma, the Bina, and I'm saying this not to teach Kabbalah, but just to understand it, is called Abba and Ima. So something we can understand even better. That Abba, Ima, as simple as that. That there's I always say that scientifically a typical male is able to produce in his lifetime 20,000 children, 23,000 children, depending on the male. But it's really a lot of children. But the tachlis, the most you're going to produce is if you exercise fidelity, is going to be 12, 15, 16. How many kids are you going to have already, right? Because it's like a gender of, Elef Nechlasin L'Beis HaMedrash V'Echad Yotzei L'Hayra. You could, there could be so much Chochma, but you need the Bina to then take it and to process it, to fertilize it. You could throw 1,000 seeds into the ground, you get one tree. You're not going to get necessarily 1,000 trees. Which one is going to take is the thing. But I just want to show you pasuk that we're familiar with. Gracious bara lekim as hashemayim as aretz. Yeah. It's Yerushalmi, Targum Munklas, Targum Yonasim Nazil, Targum Yerushalmi. Gracious bara lekim as hashemayim v'aretz. Gracious bechuchmasa baruch Hashem. Catch that? Gracious bechuchmasa. That the ratius of the bria is called Chochma. Nothing to do with Chochma, per se, as we understand it. Bereshis b'chochmasa bara Hashem. So the Targum, the Pirush Yerushalmi says here, b'chochmasa pirush b'amtsois chochmel yoina. V'chein hu b'sefer Azayah or b'rikanti b'Rabbeinu B'chai. B'chochmasa bara alma, so I'm not even sure if that's correct, this Pirush. But b'chochmasa bara alma doesn't mean with the original Chochma of Hashem, but it means with that first, the Brias HaOlam came about from an original seed. This is the Tzimtzum, the Yesh Me'ayin, something from nothing that came out. And that's called, that first piece is called Chochma. With me on this? Chochma. What's going to happen with that Chochma? Something, nothing, but it's Chochma, it's there. That's the first part of the Kesser. So we also have Tid Melech Machshavas HaKeser. We also have this idea of Chochma in our Keser, that the original piece. U'kamoisha oisa hachochma, and just like the original spark of creation, or seed of creation, or whatever metaphor you'd like to use, like tivsaik, tamid lachshay machshavos toivos. This is so fascinating, because we all know this, that Hamachadesh betuvai b'chol yoim ma'aseh brachos, that the Bria wasn't then, 6,000 years ago. The Bria is an ongoing constant, which is extremely significant. So it means that Hashem is constantly creating and recreating the world every second, every millisecond. It's not you can't even look at it in a linear fashion of time. You have to, but I just don't have any other way of looking at it. But just my own, limitations in studying relativity. But there's a constant creation that's going on. So what it means is that the way I see it is that the ness is not a ness. The teva is a ness. I mean that a miracle is something which is going against what's normal and supposed to happen. The water goes this way, all of a sudden the water's going that way. Gravity means things go from up to down, or the ness means things go down to up. It's not a miracle because Kadosh Baruch Hu is creating the world every second differently, or anew, b'chadesh, b'choyed, tu'er, b'yis. So the fact that the water goes down, Niagara Falls going this way today, or a minute ago, is no raya that it should go this way again. It could change. So the less is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, out of consideration for our psyches, doesn't make a change. Could you imagine if the whole world would be unpredictable if there wasn't a teva?
He changed his mind. It's a different mood today.
Yeah. It's like, which way is the falls going? And so instead of calling it the falls, we're calling it the ups or the rises or something like that.
Look out.
Right.
That's on mine.
This guy last week, just the Niagara Falls is frozen. So I grew up with this. The Niagara Falls is frozen, so this rock climber decided to climb up the falls. So you got this video of him climbing up the falls. Very cool. and you very much pray that Hashem does not decide to change his mind in the middle. Climbing up the falls. Nobody like 3 feet beyond where he's crying or is climbing, you can hear the rush of the water. So Niagara Falls is, they say, what happens when Niagara Falls hits the ground every second, it's hitting the ground. So that's the equivalent of 80 Mack trucks, 16-wheelers hitting the ground, every second. So that's what's going on in Niagara Falls. It was frozen, so you got a klipa there, which you can climb on. So the Baruch Hashem, there's the miracle of teva, which means that we can relax and know that what happened a second ago is probably going to happen again. So we're all saying, we want to lead a miraculous life. We don't really want to lead a miraculous life. If there would be a Kriyas Yam Suf every second, unexpectedly, you can never go boating, shipping, nothing. It would be a crazy world. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baracham of Hagadolim, made an inyan of teva. So therefore, what's the most relaxing thing you can do? You take a walk in the park or take a walk along the beach. The most relaxing thing you can do is to look at teva. It would be very unrelaxing to look at Kriyas Yam Suf. It would be interesting, but it would be relaxing. The whole thing is look, the flowers are growing, the trees are going up, and the rain is the scent is there, and the birds are chirping. That's the beautiful part of the bria is the teva, not the mess. Moshe Rabbeinu asked for Nissim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, "You sure about this? You sure you want to have lechem min hashamayim and not so simple." He says, "Yeah, I want Nissim. We need Nissim. We had enough teva there in Mitzrayim." That's how the Psukim read. So it means to say that the world is happening every second. Now, if you think about it in terms of Chochma, what it means is that the Chochma, which is that first seed of the Bria, is happening and re-happening every single second. So it's always new. B'chadish. The world is new. Now, if you look at it in terms of a relationship, and I just skipped to the end so we understand what we're talking about, the Kabbalah of forgiveness and the Kabbalah of renewal is such a deep thing, because what happens is that we have something that starts off good, and then it gets complicated and complex and tangled, and it's very difficult to get on track again. However, if it starts new, then if there's this energy of newness, then you always got a chance. See, I'll give you an example, like a chassan and kala. I find myself saying this when I speak under chuppahs a lot lately. Like all of a sudden I'm speaking under chuppahs a lot. I don't know why. It's like going through this stage of life. But Maybe because this is a good thing to say. That's why it comes this way. But Chassan and Kala are standing under the chuppah to have the whole world in front of them, right? I mean, like they're just coming together now for real. There's such a strong bonding that's going, and probably in the nevuah of their eyes, you can see their whole world is there. Their children are there. Their grandchildren are there. Everything is there, and it's beautiful. And when they walk away from the chuppah, they're just walking to the hall. They're walking into life with a whole new thing. And it's not like the new of being born where you don't have any das. It's a new, presumably, where there's das, over here, and we're coming together as a team. Now, it doesn't take more than an hour to get into an argument. It starts to get, I don't mean argument necessarily argument, but it starts to get tangled. It starts to get, hiccup here, hiccup there. And, what happens is it can get tangled. So the best thing, some things get so tangled that you can't you can't untangle it. So sometimes the best thing is, get back to the Yom HaChuppah. Get back to the first moment. And when you get back to that first moment, whoa, so we're not at the first moment. So much water is under the bridge, right? So much has happened. We're not at the first moment, but we are. Because the world is renewed every single second. Since the world is renewed every single second, there's always a new piece of Chochma. There's always Chochma being the new idea, the new seed. We could start again. There's a koach that a person has to restart, right? What's it called? Control Alt Delete. You could restart, clear the page, start again. Who says we have this koach? Oh, it's too much going on. No, there's not too much going on. A person. This is a God-given koach because we're godly. If Hashem would not do this himself, if Hashem himself would not do this, the world would not exist. Because the only reason HaKadosh Baruch Hu could create a world after the Babel is because of this idea of let's start again and again and again. If Hashem wouldn't do this, there would be no koach of tshuva. There would be no such thing as tshuva. Tshuva is the ability to restart. So this restart is something that, if things are tangled in our own lives, so this is the madrega of Chochma, if things are tangled in our own lives, we have to be able to think about how do we reset this. And to push reset, you don't always want to push reset, like I say. Teva is a good thing. It's good if things go naturally, but sometimes you have to push reset or get somebody to find that button for you, the reset, the red button. So you push reset, and then, okay, let's start fresh, let's start new, and we have this. Where does this koach come from? It comes from the koach of Chochma, the Kesed. What do you want to say, Rabbi Lozer?
Yeah, I'm having problems trying to understand this restarting every instant, because that means that within me is Adam HaRishon, and everything throughout history is inside of me. I wasn't here 20
Well, of course your neshama was here.
My neshama was here.
That's all. We're talking. That's all. You don't need anything more. We're talking about the neshama. I'll give you an example. Like, let's say a tree is not growing well, so you cut it down. It grows again. Plant is not doing well. Cut it down. It grows again. That's the goof. But the neshama of the thing, or the seed of the thing, is still there. So it'll sprout again nicely. Let's just cut it down. But it won't look so pretty if we cut it down. It'll look prettier. Eventually, it'll look prettier. So this is the Indian of Chochma.
Thank you.
So there's two nekudas of Chochma that we need to know. First of all, the Chochma doesn't mean Chochma. That's the first thing we're learning today. Important you say. New definition for Chochma. Second of all, HaChochma loy tifsek. Tamid. Lachshe machshavas teves. HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Chochma is ongoing. The Bria, and this is the significance of it, the Bria keeps on happening. That's what gives us the koyach of tshuva, keeps on being mischadish again and again. So it's tamid. So it's like, the mayon hamiskaber. If you come across a mayon hamiskaber, a fountain, an everlasting and ever-flowing fountain, it's just coming out new from the ground, like forever. It's coming out. That water can never be polluted because it's always fresh. It's always new. It's a mayan. Mayan is the ultimate and freshness. The world is fresh. The world, what happened last week is not mechayev what's going to happen this week. Not in terms of wars, and not in terms of. And this is the issue of not holding a grudge, by the way. And in our personal life, what happened last week has nothing to do with today. It might be tangled, but it's complicated. But it's not over. The HaKadosh Baruch Hu is constantly making something new. Listen, I think at some level we've all seen this in our own lives, that things that we thought could not be renewed were renewed. You daven and things are renewed. So it's miraculous. How could it be? Okay, it can't be, but that's that Bria that can be. There's a new Bria that can be. There's such a thing as a new Bria that we're entitled to be misfollowed for. A Bria Chadasha. And it doesn't make a difference if you're 20, 30, or 80. It doesn't make any difference. There's a Makam of Chiddush.
How's that tie into Tchiyat HaMeitim?
Tchiyas HaMeisim. Tal Tchiyas HaMeisim. V'hara. It does tie in. It's the same thing. V'atchayena es ha'atzava Yisraela. Atchayena.
I'm sorry, but about the teva being fixed, I mean, global warming, is that something that is a change in the teva? Is it, I mean, what do we, how we...
Well, I think on the contrary, I don't know that much about it, but I think that is the teva hadvar. That'll be warming. Are you worried about it? No. Am I worried? Like the scientists get all frustrated that nobody's worried about this. Okay, sorry.
Like overpopulation.
Some scientists.
Or that minks are becoming extinct.
Global warming is not a proven fact.
Besides the fact it's not a proven fact, but
I mean,
nobody's ever going to worry about it. First of all, it doesn't affect me personally, but besides for the fact, it's the Teva Advarim. That's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing with the world. He created us with his consumption, his discoveries. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu is b'koach to be mechadish b'tumah. Let me say something radical for a second. Like some of the people that talk against intermarriage. We should all talk against intermarriage, but some of the people that talk against intermarriage talk about the possible extinction of the Jewish people. Okay. It's not something that I'm particularly concerned about. This is not my problem. that the Jewish people will become extinct, so they'll become extinct. It's Hashem's problem. Like, in other words, does it bother the Alaskan polar bear that it might become extinct? Oh my gosh, I'm becoming extinct. Like what? It's becoming extinct. I mean, it doesn't hurt to become extinct.
Same thing about missionaries.
Missionaries?
Yeah.
With the what?
I mean, why worry about that?
Right. Okay.
Why?
Isn't that something we are supposed to do? Isn't that
Why?
what Moshe was worried about? That,
Extinction? He's worried about the Kvod Hashem.
Right. So isn't
Okay, so he's worried about the Kvod Hashem. In other words, the concern here is that I don't understand. It's not even a concern that others hurt me, but I don't understand you, Hashem. You made the world for a purpose, and the purpose is not going to be accomplished if the Jews become extinct. So what are you making us extinct for? But it's a deeper thing than getting up into a room and lecturing. We're all going to become extinct if you marry that chick. Okay, I mean it's true. I'm not. It's true. That was my father in his simplicity used to talk about intermarriage. Stop putting water in the soup. Okay, the simple ones are the ones that I remember. Stop. Seder, I understand, but the point of it is that the shchita begalusa. That's the point. The point is not the extinction of it. That's the Seder Advar. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says that's Ach Yisrael lo Yishakir. That there will always be Jews, because that was the bracha to Avraham. So I don't know if it means 10 Jews or 10 million Jews, but there will always be Jews. There is a nevuah about the end of days and that there will be the Malchus Yisrael. So I'm comfortable. I'm not worried about global warming. I'm more worried about Mashiach. If I'm going to worry about the future, I'm more worried about Mashiach. But somebody called me last night and he said, Rav. He said he dreamt about me last night. He had to share it with me. So he told me his dream, and he said he and I prepared. We're standing before Mashiach. I didn't have this dream. He had the dream. So I said, "So who was Mashiach?" I can't tell you, but it wasn't you. That's what he told me. So today I'm here to announce that I am not Moshiach.
In this person's eyes.
But
According to him.
according to his dream, right. But every dream has Hevel in it. Yeah. Okay. I get the strangest phone calls. Really? So one thing about the Chochma of Hashem is that it's ongoing forever. Tamid, Latif say Tamid lachshay machshavos toivos, that there's always this new. It's like a generator, always generating new. Not to worry. V'hara, like a mayon hamiskaber, hara lo yikanes ba. So understand that if HaKadosh Baruch Hu's purpose in the world, before there was the Chet of Adam Arishan, before there was the Chorban Beis HaMikdash, before there was Arachat Haim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu's kavan in the world was Toiv. It was Kulai Toiv. There was nothing. There was no reactions there. It wasn't like, oh, now Adam did a Chet. What do we do now? That's already goes down in the line. The original is complete Tov. So it's like a Mayan Hamiskaber. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu's ongoing creation in the world, the ongoing Machadish B'Tuvah B'Chayim Tov Ma'aser, it's always Tov. It's Tov. It's a brand new. It's a clean new. It's a pure new. V'hara lo yikanes ba mipnei shehi rachamim gemurim. Ve'ein sham din. Din is invented later. That's a reaction. V'loy shum kaishi cloud. There is no entanglement going on. Kacha adam. So now let's speak godly. Tamid tiyeh machshavtei pnuya mikol davar mechoyar. That we have to be able to have a pure mind. When you wake up in the morning, start new, it's a pure mind. It's not who am I going to hurt today? Who am I going to get back at today? How am I going to deal with this? Start new, fresh. Today is a go to sleep at night. You say, I love you, get up in the morning, say good morning. That's it. Morning is broken. There's something new happening over here, something clean, something fresh, something pure. And let's start fresh. Now it takes two to learn Tomer Devorah. But the fact of the matter is this ability to constantly be refreshed, renewed.
Why does it say Rachamim Gemurim and not Chesed?
Oh, very good question. But I think that'll become clear as we go on. So I don't want to. Kacha adam tia tamid tia machshavtei pnuya mikol davar mechayer u'kamay shehi side chachma Torah keduma. What does that mean? It's wrong here, so it's keduma.
Keduma?
Keduma, it's supposed to be. It's wrong. How do I know? Because it says here that he looked in all the Svarim and the Ramak, and this Lashon is all over the place, and it's Torah Keduma. But what is Torah Keduma?
Mine says Keduma.
Huh? Whoa.
What?
Mine says Keduma.
But this is not subject to vote. I'm telling you, it's Keduma. What is Torah Keduma?
Before the Bria?
Oh, so there was a Torah before the Bria. What's the significance of it? What's the significance? Well, we all know the Zohar says that the Torah was there for thousands of generations before Hashem said, "Bereishis bara Elokim es hashamayim v'haaretz."
It's the blueprint.
So what does it mean? It's pure.
Yeah.
There's a purity to it. It's not a Torah that came about after the Chet of Adam Arishon. It's a Torah of a pure world. It's the Torah of a pure world. That's the idea of the Torah Keduma. So Istakel by Raisa bara Alma. Means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu looks at that blueprint and creates the world. So not just he did that, he's doing that every single second. So the Torah is constantly renewed and new again. So that's Kamaishi, he's Side Chochma, the purity of the Chochmas Hashem, that first idea, that first germ, is constantly being re-germinated, renewed, refunded. Kamaishi, Side Chochma, Torah Keduma. I want to show you something. I really wish if I wasn't shy, I would teach you a niggin. But
All right, we're all friends here.
We're all friends.
You want to shut the video?
Kel me stop there. You say this? So should us. Depends what time Marv is. Let's just look at the first two. Just the introduction to Rabbi Berel's book. Hazemer Kel Mistater Chibroi Rabbi Avram Maimon was created by Rabbi Avram Maimon, Talmud Muvak Shel HaRamak. Talmud of Ramat, Tomer Devorah. Yusad al Seder Eser Spheres. It's a description of the Eser Spheres. Kol Charuz al Sphera Achas. Ein Keser Chochma Bina Chesed Gvur Tiveres Netzach Chodesh Eimal. That's what this niggin is. So if you didn't sing it until now we should at least sing the first two verses. And so it goes like this: Kel mistater b'shafir chavyoin. Anybody know what that means? Kel, Hashem, mistater, hiding. B'shafir, lashon beauty, shapir, shufra, shafir chavyoin. Of the chavyoin means beauty. B'shafir chavyoin. Haseichel hanelam mikol rayon. There's a seichel which is hidden from anybody's understanding. Nobody can understand this. Ilas ha'ilois muchtar b'cheser el yoin. The cause of all causes is muchtar b'keser el yoin. Keser yitnu l'cha Hashem. This is the description of keser. The keser is a description of the undescribable. It's the secret of all the secrets, and the Elois, the cause of all causes, which we can't get to. Remember, I described it last week as the quality of the brain. That we can know everything about the brain except for the main part of the brain. No neuroscientist will get to is what is this person? Why is he different than that person? That's the part that Deyoseim das, kach Deyoseim eda shavos. That's midas keser. Midah beis is midas chachma. Bereshis Torah hakiduma, right? The reshis of Torah hakiduma. If we look at the original Torah, the Torah which is kaduma, which came before the Brias Olam, Bereshis Torah hakiduma, what do you find? Reshuma chachmascha hastuma. You'll find this stimas hachachma. Find chachma. So the reshis haTorah hakiduma is kulei chachma, meaning not wisdom, not don't wear shatnez, not don't eat treif, don't eat pigs. That's not what it is. It's chochma. It's an idea that Hashem had of creating a world which is olam chesed yibon. It's a world. Mi'ayin timatza v'hi nelama. It comes from nothing. Yesh mi'ayin is that first idea which is something from nothing. Right? Yesh mi'ayin. Mi'ayin timatza v'hi nelama, and it's still hidden. Even when it's that first thing, Reish is Chochma Yiras Hashem. So it's so beautiful. That's as far as I'm going to sing today. Reish is Chochma, the beginning of all Chochma. And here's a chiddush that we didn't see in the Tomer Devorah is Yiras Hashem, Yiras Shemayim. We all know that part. We know Reish is Chochma Yiras Hashem. We say it with our kids. So Reish is Chochma Yiras Hashem means that the first thing we're teaching the child when he's new, the first thing we say in the morning is that let's get back to the Reishis. Remember, Bereishis, the Chochma, the Targum Yonasan. Bereishis, B'chuchmasa Bar Olam. The Reishis is called Chochma. Reishis and Chochma is Ainu It's synonyms. So Bereishis Chochmascha Hastuma, Reishis Chochma, Yiras Hashem. What is it all? It all comes before intellect. It's all before. You see, I'll tell you. I just read a wonderful article by with this I will end, by Rabbi Elon Feldman, who's the rabbi of Atlanta, Georgia. His father is Rabbi Feldman, lives in Beit Torah. His wife's father is Rav Yaacov Weinberg, chashuv person. So he's talking about Torah leadership, and how these days we hear so many terrible things about this rabbi did that and that principal did this, and so after making the point that there's a lot of exploded by the media, and it's not like every teacher is a pervert or something. It's a small, very small. Obviously, anybody with any seichel understands that, but it's not not like. But he says something which hit me as very interesting. He says that people pick their rabbis or their teachers or their rabbeim or even their Hasidic rabbis. They pick them based on their how much Torah they know. Okay, it's important. They pick them by their midos, by their charisma. there's so many things that you look for if you go down the list, the job description. So many things you look at. He says there's only one thing that you have to find first, and that's Yer Shamayim. You have Yer Shamayim. If you have somebody with Yer Shamayim, and then layered on top of that is Torah and Midos. And I heard his father-in-law, Rabbi Yaacov Haber, once say, I was sort of speaking at a convention, he said that through his life he's developed 3 relationships with charisma. He used to love it, and then he became indifferent to it, now he hates it. There's something very external about the idea to be able to affect other people with some kind of an external personality ability. He actually has come to hate it. What is like the ikr if you're looking for somebody? Isha, Yiras Hashem, Hitisalo. Like, okay, it's nice. Everybody wants to have a beautiful wife and a talented wife and a good sense of humor. But it doesn't mean that it should be only Yiras Hashem. But Isha, Yiras Hashem, if the rachis, Chochma, is Yiras Hashem, Yeshis Chochma, Yiras Hashem. So that means that everything that's starting off with Yiras Hashem. Is that like if the tchila is pure, like a Bayan HaMiskaber, so now you're building out purity. If the beginning is polluted, no matter what you're going to put on top of that, it's not the right thing. So here the Zmira is Reishis Chochma Yiras Hashem. But it all comes down to such a practical thing that we have to renew and refresh and refresh. But the refreshing, like HaKadosh Baruch Hu is refreshing, has to be a refreshment of Yer Shamayim. What is Yer Shamayim? Yer Shamayim, purity of thought. Purity of thought. That's
Moshe Rabbeinu.
Moshe Rabbeinu. Purity of thought. Anova.
That's why I couldn't speak, because he couldn't be.
Right. Very good. Very good. But there's anova. Think about it. Like anova means that I'm not in it for myself. So that's the real lesson here is that we. So let's say one or two sentence sikum, so we don't walk out in an esoteric world. That what it means too is just like Hashem refreshes, we need to refresh. We need to be able to refresh in relationships. We need to be able to renew our own thinking every day, not get stuck in what was yesterday. That's the nakuda. Because if Hashem would get stuck in what was yesterday, there would be no such thing as tshuva. So we have to allow tshuva in our own lives, for ourselves, for other people. And that's called Chochma. That Metzias is called Chochma, the new germ, the new idea. Let's do it again, one more time.